Intellectual functioning with dementia residents and dementia units helps with emotional control, especially when coming into the dementia unit, being admitted to the unit, which is the most stressful time. And at that time, most residents fluctuate enormously with anxiety and depression and cortisol and everything that goes along with that spectrum. But I have witnessed on 2 occasions with one female and another male, these people coming into the dementia unit, they had self-confidence and they had active intelligence. The woman said, well, I haven't got dementia, and went about packing up her books and getting her room organised, and the man just continued operating just like in the barracks, the days of old. They never got depressed, anxious, upset or flustered because they kept their intelligence and intellectual activity going with reading and quizzes and history and crosswords, and they didn't let the stigma, the environment, the emotional upheavals that were going on, that always are going on in a dementia unit, get to them. Such strong people. It really was incredible. But generally, with people that are coming in, 1/3 of them get really upset, really depressed, and, either at the door, get me out, call the police, and get angry, frustrated. A good 1/3 would be in that category. Vigorous, strong, and, but with terrible memory and no direction orientation, hence needing to be in a dementia unit. Then about 1/3 resign themselves to it and accept it, maybe getting depressed as a result, but they don't, create a problem at the entrance with it. And then the other 1/3 would be people that have very advanced dementia, maybe younger onset, maybe other medical conditions compounding, so they're not really able to communicate or engage to the same degree as the 2 in the other groups are. Now, interestingly enough, the vigorous group, we'll call them the vigorous group, the ones that are banging at the door and wanting to get out, which takes an enormous amount of energy, by the way, calling for the police and let me out and pounding at the door all day long, for days, sometimes weeks on end. I don't know where they get the strength. It must be absolutely shattering physically and emotionally. But that group, if they can get through the first 8 weeks, that's the critical point as to whether you're going to adjust to living in the unit or not. And that's when so much support is needed, all the support that can be mustered in terms of getting a lovely room organised, comfortable, warm, cosy, nice pictures around, good bedding, comfortable chair, lots of visits, lots of walks out, lots of trips out, lots of conversations, etc., etc. All of which I've gone through in detail in the books I've written, Residents' Voice, Residents' Rise, and all these multitudinous videos I've done. Now, that group, the vigorous group, if they can settle over that first 8 weeks and calm down and accept they're in the unit and experience the support and hopefully make friends with other dementia residents, if they come round, they do well. They do well in the unit. They come to the activities, they support the others. Most of them are walking independently. That's why they're fit and strong enough to be able to bang at the door. And if they have support from relatives with walking outside and getting trips out, they can do well. With the ones with other complicated conditions and medications, heavy medication, advanced dementia, and aphasic, very difficult for them to join in the activities. They still do well, I have to say, because everyone supports them and is kind to them, but it's hard for them to engage in the activities, and that really is where the socialisation happens. In terms of the other group that accept fait accompli, being there, that will tolerate or accept one or the other, but don't make I don't like to use that word, don't make a fuss out of it, but don't sort of create a storm out of it. they are usually good as well. They will come to the workshop. So 2/3 of the unit will come to the workshops and engage in the reading and quizzes and workshops and discussions and make friends and be part of the whole equation. So this is how a functioning intellect comes about. And of course, when people have a functioning intellect, so much better quality of life when you can think or have confidence in your thinking. I mean, the thing is, dementia residents can think, but because of stigma, prejudice, and other attitudes, being shut down, shut off, disparaging attitudes, a lot of people lose confidence in communicating and stop communicating. And the thing is, once you stop communicating, it's like any skill, you lose the ability to. So it's building back all that confidence, building back the trust, getting the dialogue and communication going. Once it's going, it sort of builds on itself, but it does take quite some doing initially. So thank you for your viewing and your likes and looks and thumbs up. Thank you. Please subscribe.